when you're fighting the woke, you have to take advantage of every dang opportunity. And one of the best opportunities that you're going to get is anytime the mainstream legacy corporate media comes a-knocking at your door, you can probably try to catch them in the act of doing something scandalous. And that's exactly what happened to me today. So I was on a call with my locals community. Every Tuesday and Thursday in my locals community, we do what I call community Zooms, which is basically we all hop on a Zoom call and we talk about what's going on and we help each other, and we support each other, and we can rant and rave and just try to navigate this dystopian reality that we're living in. So I was in the middle of a local Zoom call when I get this request on LinkedIn. And normally I don't pay attention to LinkedIn, but I just happened to be looking at my phone when the request came through. And it's basically from this guy here, Glenn, editor/chief writer of Washington Post fact checker, revealing the truth behind the rhetoric. Now, Glenn reached out to me on LinkedIn and he sent me a message basically saying, I have some questions about Chris Rufo. Can you give me a call? And he gave me his phone number and he gave me his email address. Now, I can't record phone calls unless I'm telling people I'm recording phone calls, because that's the law in my state. So I sure as heck wasn't going to give him a call, but I did want to find out what he was doing, because the minute that I saw this come through, I basically grabbed a screenshot of it. I DM'd it to Rufo. I was like, FYI, Washington Post is doing something. And because, I mean, obviously, anytime the Washington Post writes about Chris Rufo, it's going to be a hit piece. The Washington Post already wrote a horrific hit piece about Chris Rufo that he discredited easily. It wasn't even hard for him to do it. So I knew if they were reaching out to me, they were working on something else. So I wanted to let him know. And then I emailed Glenn from my personal email. And I was like, what do you want? Essentially, because I wanted to get it in writing. Well, Glenn got back to me. And here's what he said. He said, hi, Carlin, thanks. Not sure if you know, I write a column called The Fact Checker, in which I vet claims made by political figures. In various interviews, Rufo has claimed that he became aware of CRT because he got a tip from an anonymous Seattle employee about the CRT program there. But through a public records request, I have discovered that his query sent to the city sent on June 17th and since cited a tweet that you made on June 16th. And the tweet that he's talking about is right here. So you can see I sent this tweet on June 16th, 2020. It was referencing, so I basically, and this is June of last year, right? Over a year ago now. So I basically had an anonymous employee at the city of Seattle reach out to me and tell me some stuff that was going on. And I sent out this tweet first. Fun fact, the city of Seattle is asking its white employees to voluntarily spend their day off in a training about internalized racial superiority. And I've got documentation on it. And I did have documentation on it, which I followed up with afterwards, which was this email from the city of Seattle, basically saying that same thing. Well, Chris Rufo saw this tweet because it went viral. It was covered everywhere. Like Ben Shapiro talked about it on his show. Lots of people were tweeting about it. And so Chris Rufo saw this tweet and then followed up on it and did actual journalism and investigated the situation. And I'm going to be honest, guys. This is exactly what I want to happen. When I put information out there, this is exactly what I want to happen. I want a journalist to see it and do journalism and then follow up on the thing. And Chris Rufo, being that he is one of the few last remaining real journalists out there, actually did the thing I wanted him to do and took this story and ran with it. And that was what launched Chris Rufo into doing all of the great work that he's doing now. Glenn's email continued. In other words, he was piggybacking off of your research and has been falsely claiming he had an anonymous tipster helping him. And now it seems he's hijacked the whole thing into some kind of anti-white attack, which I don't think was your original intention. You notice how he's playing good cop there? So I was wondering about your reaction to this. I still have to contact him and do some more reporting. So please don't tweet this or mention until after I published. Now, I was going to tweet it anyway as soon as I found out what it was, but that line at the end especially spurred me on. So what I did next, and I want to emphasize this, listen, I never, was Chris Rufo piggybacking off of a story that I broke? Yes, he absolutely was. But the thing of it is, and I found this out later, Chris Rufo and I were talking to the same whistleblower. The same whistleblower that reached out to me also reached out to him. And I found out about this accidentally as I started just passing off more information that this whistleblower was sending me to Rufo. And Rufo eventually said, I think we're talking to the same person. So we were talking to the same whistleblower at that time. So this idea that Rufo was like stealing my work was just ridiculous and stupid for reasons that I've already said. Like, I don't want to be a journalist. I've never wanted to be a journalist. I don't want to follow up on this stuff. I don't want to spend all day doing public records requests. It's just not what I'm good at. And so I'm very, very grateful when people step in and do this stuff. But you know what? That last line about please don't tweet this or share it publicly. Well, the first thing I did was I took a screenshot of the email, and again, I sent it to Rufo to make sure he knew what was going on. And then, of course, I tweeted it publicly, and I said, "Hi, Glenn. Chris Rufo and I were working with the same anonymous tipster. This person came to us both with the same information. So yes, that person absolutely exists. And no, I don't believe Rufo hijacked anything. I'm grateful for his work. I hope this helps." And then, of course, I emailed Glenn back with the link to this tweet. And I said, "Here's your response. Good luck on your hit piece." And Glenn emailed me back. And he said, "I never suggested this person did not exist. I am disappointed you decided to go public with my query. His public records request made no mention of anonymous tipster, only your tweet, but your answer would have suggested that he was still on solid ground to make that claim." Yes, Chris Rufo was on solid ground to make that claim. And I responded, again publicly, because I ain't responding to him privately. "Hi, Glenn. Sorry you're disappointed, but I'm disappointed that the Washington Post is doing yet another hit piece on Chris Rufo. It is ridiculous. Regardless, the whistleblower is real and was talking to both of us, and Rufo is always on strong ground." And the reason I'm bringing this up, guys, is you have to hold these people's feet to the fire. You have to hold them accountable. And the only way to do that is by doing this publicly, by replying publicly, by throwing them under the bus, especially if they don't want you to tweet something. That is the thing that you need to tweet, because there's absolutely no reason that the Washington Post is continuing to go after Chris Rufo other than they have a vendetta against him because he's highly effective at what he's doing, and he's right. Well, looks like a whole bunch of people are tweeting this tweet. Let's see how the activity is on it. 237,000 people as of this recording have seen that the Washington Post is full of shit. And the other thing is, too, is like, isn't it convenient that the Washington Post fact checker column is starting with a conclusion and then is reaching out to people, me in this case, to try to bolster the conclusion that they have already come to. Isn't that convenient? Well, sorry, Glenn. Sorry. Your antics got exposed. I'm not going to help you throw Chris Rufo under the bus. Chris Rufo is a warrior. I also consider him to be a friend. He's a very good guy. He does really good work. He is one of the only true journalists out there, better than any GD journalist at the Washington Post. I would never throw him under the bus. I would never work with you people behind his back to craft a hit piece. And I don't care that he took the work that I did, which frankly wasn't that much. I talked to a whistleblower. I put some stuff on Twitter, hoping an actual journalist would cover it. I don't care that he piggybacked off my work. That's what I want people to do. I want journalists to behave like journalists. Chris Rufo behaved like an actual journalist. And look where we are now. Look where we are now. So it's kind of funny, isn't it? Like, we've kind of come full circle with this entire thing, because this is really where it all started, was this original story about, not that one right there, the Seattle whistleblower a year ago. And look how much progress we've made on critical race theory ever since. So guys, as I said, this whole thing started literally live on one of my locals community Zooms. And so my locals members, there were about 30 of us on this community Zoom, they actually got to watch this whole thing unfold live. They were the ones that found out that Washington Post reached out to me. They were the first ones to see what the Washington Post wanted. I was literally on the call with them when I was crafting this tweet, and the whole thing began. So if you want to join and get in on the action, you just got to join my locals community, kb.locals.com. The information is down there below. It is free to join, but the community Zoom calls are only available to supporters. That's $5 a month, or alternatively $50 for the whole year. You get 2 months free if you sign up that way. kb.locals.com/support. Again, the information's down there somewhere. But our community Zooms are awesome, and you get to sometimes, every once in a while, get inside info about what's going on before it becomes public, and you might even get to instigate to try to get me to tweet things that maybe I shouldn't tweet, but in this case, it was definitely worth tweeting this. Sorry, Glenn. Sorry you're disappointed. But the Washington Post disappoints me all the time, so what can you really do? Guys, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. I do daily content around news, politics, culture, really whatever I find interesting. Sometimes you get juicy tidbits like this. Sometimes you get me ranting about the news. Sometimes you get to watch classroom work about critical race theory. Sometimes, like tomorrow on Friday, I'm going to be doing a happy hour stream where we're going to watch a diversity training together and just rip it apart and mock it just to blow off steam. And you get all sorts of things when you subscribe. Make sure you get those notifications turned on too, so YouTube actually shows you when I post new stuff. But it is pretty much every single day. If you don't see stuff from me, just check back. There's stuff down there to do all this stuff somewhere. That's all I've got for right now. I'll see you soon.